It's Tuesday, October 29th, 2019, and this is the Pro and Con Show. My name is Michael James, and I'm your host. Welcome to the show. Doing a bunch of these. I try to do one every single day, encouraging all of us to be better citizens, to focus on the facts. That's the who, the what, the where, and the when. To at least being open to listening to opposing views and some of the data behind those opposing views. And then looking at some of the bias that's coming at us, and the main reason why I want you to focus on the who, the what, the why, and the when is because if you look at various information streams that are coming at you, notice I didn't say news, information streams like Breitbart or CNN or Huffington Post or whatever, well, what you'll see is very often a little bit of reporting of actual news. That's the who, the what, the where, and the when. That's the facts. And then a whole lot of prognostication, opinion, emotion. But, you need the news. You need the facts. You need to focus on those and form your own opinions based on the facts. Okay? Now, in the current news right now, and this is going to be kind of an ongoing drumbeat over the next months, so this is the end of October and through, for the next few months, this impeachment proceedings with Mr. Trump and the Democrats in the House of Representatives and ongoing investigations of all the various allegations of his involvement in various things. This is going to occupy a big part of what the country looks at and does over the next months. Okay, but even so, and I will talk about those, and we'll look at again how the different information streams are kind of treating that or spinning it when you see it. But even so, that doesn't stop me and us from talking about the issues. And so I'm going to hold this up here. And, you can freeze the video for a moment. You can read these things. But basically, the issues, as far as I can tell, there's some major issues that if we take care of them, these are fundamental things in our society. If we take care of them, if you and I agree to do something different than what we've done for the last decades, then things are going to get markedly better. So now that you've had a chance to read those, I'm going to lower it down and read it myself. So one of the main absolute important things that we could possibly do, because it will help us in so many ways to address all the other issues that we face as a community, as a nation, as a society, as a species. And that is election reform. And this concept of, like instead of a jury pool, we have a candidate pool. And we talk about citizen representatives, not people who volunteered, but basically, just like jury duty, they were kind of drafted into service, and they serve, and of course they're compensated just like in jury duty, hopefully a little bit better, because they'll be, giving up a portion of the careers, to serve the common good. But if we were to have that, it would, just as it says on the slide, it would address so much as far as this, us versus them, Republicans versus Democrats, the big war over abortion and gun control. This is all stems from, the two-party system that we have allowed to kind of run our society. And, of course, the battles of the puppeteers that try to influence us to fight against each other so that they can be in power and control. So that's the wealth, influence, and power thing I talked about in the past. And so we can get rid of government inaction and the awful effects of money, the influence of money and special interests in our elections, and truly have people serving the common good. Now, the second most important thing, in my view, is that the Earth, the climate on the Earth, we humans, now numbering almost 8 billion, very close to 8 times the number of people that there were just 200 years ago. Let me say that again, 8 times the number of people. So just imagine wherever you are at this moment, look around you and imagine 8 times the number of people. If you're sitting in your house and maybe a family of 3, suddenly 24. There's 24 people in your environment. There's 24 people in your home. Things going to be different. Environment's going to be different. Impact of those people on the environment in your home going to be different. Yeah. And that's exactly what we're doing. And it's human activity. It's, feeding ourselves, raising, all the animals and stripping away rainforest and all, and on and on and on, all the cars, all the energy use and using carbon-based, petroleum and things like that to generate all that energy. It's all leading to putting a bunch of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And so it's solidly twice what it was, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and it's rapidly climbing, and we've got to address it. And unfortunately, we've spent like 100 years getting where we are, and it's going to take us, decades to convert. Even if we wanted to convert like right away, it would just the only plausible thing, even if we dedicated ourselves to convert from petroleum-based, gasoline-based engines to electric and solar and so on. Well, the conversion of that's going to take decades. So the only real way, we could head down that path, but it's going to take decades to get there. So working through with the UN and the countries all around the world, we need to spend significant money on what I call CO2 recycling. So there is technology that's been developed where you can suck the CO2 out of the atmosphere and you can put it back into fossil fuels. And so we could, in theory, recycle it. But it's to recover and remove it from the atmosphere. And the CO2 is the biggest contributor to the heating up of the atmosphere. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, redefine success. So success forever for our species has been, the accumulation of wealth, influence, and power, and it's what drives so many ills. If you sit back and think about that, and I encourage you to just think about it. How many things would be different if all of us weren't seeking or thinking that success was the accumulation of wealth, influence, and power? So it addresses so many ills in our society, including things like wage disparity, healthcare costs, racial relations, terrorism, and on and on and on. It's all driven, if you think about it, all these different aspects of problems in our society are all driven by our bad definition of success. So what's a better definition? Success defined as service to the planet and the people on it. You serve the planet and the people on it, people look at you and say, wow, you're great. Look at what you've done. Look at the reforestation that you've accomplished, or the health, maybe mental health issues that you've addressed and helped people with, or, and the list goes on and on and on. So redefine success and appreciate the accumulation of assistance or support for the planet and the people on it, as opposed to trying to garner wealth and influence and power. And so that, just by redefining success, the more and more and more that we you and I, all of us, embrace that concept, the more that we are going to be successful in doing all kinds of things. But okay, so this adoption of a redefinition of success, well, that might take time, and it doesn't prevent us or preclude us from addressing the individual issues. So things like gun control or gun violence, wage disparity, education, healthcare, race relations, terrorism, abortion, immigration. But the way we would do all of those things, instead of just people declaring, whether it be a Republican or a Democrat or whatever, some kind of candidate, they propose something. They just say, well, I think we ought to do this. Okay? Instead of just proposing solutions and everyone scratching their heads, well, where did you come, how are you going to do that? How are you going to pay for it? Is that really the right solution? It's because we do this horrific job of trying to understand the issue and making sure that we're all on the same playing field. So all of these issues, if you had the right people in government, the right leadership, they would start by saying, okay, this month, for example, we are going to address healthcare and healthcare costs and why they're escalating, and what we might want to do about that. And so rather than just declaring, well, here's some solutions, and then having everybody wonder, well, what does is that going to work? Is it good or is it bad? What makes you the authority? Instead, we start out with, okay, let's step back and understand the data. Let's look at and get various experts to come in and testify before, the American public. Okay, open public hearings, and of course Congress and the rest of us, and talk about and have the opposing views. Hey, these people say it's this, these people say it's that, and blah 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 blah. And the reality is that as we accumulate that information from the various people, the subject matter experts, we will see, okay, there's some conflicts in the information. We'll have to resolve it, but a lot of the information will be additive. Like some of the healthcare costs come from the fact that we have this litigation system, and so there's various insurance costs and things like that, because in our litigation system there's kind of no caps on how much someone can receive for having some kind of ill effect from an inappropriate medical procedure, whatever. And that's just an example. Okay, and then there's the insurance companies, and they're taking profits out, and what service are they providing to the public in general, on and on and on. Okay. All right, so I'm going to try in future editions to talk about some of these issues, and to try to lay the groundwork for some of this, and then, hopefully cause you to think about it, and maybe do a little bit of research on your own, and talk to your neighbors and friends about how we're going to make all this better. All right, for the Pro and Con show, this is actually a makeup show for Tuesday, October 29th. I'll be doing another show this afternoon, Wednesday, October 30th. So until then, Michael James Ott, bye for now.